According to my grandmother, when I was just 3 months old, my parents abandoned me. They intended to send me to an orphanage, but my grandparents insisted on taking me in. My mother left me in my parents' house and moved to another city, where she fell in with a bad crowd and eventually ended up in prison. I never knew my father. Despite their old age, my grandparents raised me. After school, I often went fishing, which provided me with peace and an escape from the harsh world. I was likely the best fisherman in our village, knowing exactly where to find each type of fish, even creating fish maps in my notebooks. I was always eager to explore new places near home and frequently asked my grandmother about them. Although she later regretted sharing this information, it helped me understand the world around me. One evening, while sitting by the warm stove, I learned from my grandmother about a place called the Dark Pit. She explained that several people had drowned there one summer, which led to the ominous name. Though it happened long ago, the name remained. After heavy rains, I planned to visit the Dark Pit, knowing that the streams would create natural bait for fishing. I woke up early, grabbed my lucky fishing rods, and set off on my adventure. The path lay along the shore of the lake, first through the houses that stood right on the shore. Then I needed to go out along a paved path made of boards, and after that, I had to walk along the lake, slightly climbing a hill, and then down to the ravine. I was a little afraid of getting lost because I knew that further on were the lands of the tenant, as the locals called him. He was a man of about 50 years old who seemed to have lost his mind. He either bought or leased huge fields further along the lake. There stood his house, huge and unfinished, and a bathhouse right next to the shore. According to stories, there was even a swimming pool in that bathhouse. That little man, to be honest, was very strange. He was doing God knows what. I reached a ravine with a spring, went down to the stream with crystal clear water, and there it was, the hole. I settled in, assembled my fishing rod, and started fishing. The fish came one after another, even the red-finned ones. In a couple of hours, I caught a whole can. I turned out to be right about both the place and the time. Now I would go home and brag to my grandfather about my huge catch. But my curiosity changed that day a little. I knew that somewhere very close by was that very bathhouse with a swimming pool. According to my calculations, it was about 200 meters from there. I just couldn't help but take a look at it. I hid my gear in the reeds and covered the can with a stone so that no one would disturb it without my supervision. Pushing aside the reeds, I decided to walk straight along the lake. It was a dangerous business. What if I ran into that old man? But I still made a firm decision to go. And yes, it was literally 200 meters to walk. The bathhouse was the size of a small house, right on the shore of our lake. I looked around and quickly ran from the forest across the field to the bathhouse. There was a small window downstairs and it was open. I slowly looked in. Yes, there was a huge swimming pool right in the bathhouse, and I had some bad thoughts then. Again, I couldn't resist and decided to climb in through the small window. Since it was open, I couldn't miss such a chance. If I told the older children about this, they would definitely start to respect me. As soon as my feet hit the tiles, I heard a whine. Someone very close in the darkness whined. Is it possible that the guard dog is going to bite me now? I began to peer into the darkness. The whining was getting closer. Someone was walking toward me. When it came out into the illuminated area of the floor, I was stunned by what I saw through that small window. It was a wolf cub, already grown up, but he was so thin that it was scary to look at. I immediately realized that it was a wolf. I had seen all kinds of dogs, even in our village, but this was definitely a wolf. I was 100% sure. The wolf cub came up to me, started sniffing my legs, then my hands. I didn't move. I behaved as my grandmother taught me, just freeze and be calm. The puppy walked around me a couple of times, studying me, and then lay down on my boots. It seemed like they had put him there and tortured him with hunger. It was all that tenant's doing. It's no wonder people considered him strange. He probably wanted the puppy to guard his bathhouse. But judging by the look of this puppy and the wounds on his neck, he had been kept on a chain for a long time. The worst part was his ribs. It was as if he hadn't been fed at all. The little one had to be saved. I understood what this could lead to, but I still couldn't leave him there. I tried to pet him. He didn't mind. It was even as if he felt affection for the first time. Then I tried to lift him into my arms, and he didn't resist. I took a stool, placed it next to that small window, and pushed the puppy right through the window into the street, then climbed after him. The puppy was waiting for me. He didn't run away. When I got out, I started waving my hands at him, saying, "Run away. Run into the forest. There is freedom for you." But he came to me and lay down on my boots again. I had to go home with him. The main thing was that the tenant did not notice us. We were now on his territory, and calling the puppy to me, we ran into the forest, which would hide us from prying eyes. We arrived at my fishing spot. I tried to give the puppy some rud. He didn't even chew it. He just swallowed it. He was so hungry. I then fed him half of my catch and headed home with him. I still tried to drive him away, but he just followed me. I think he liked me. When I came home, a punishment awaited me. My grandfather sent the puppy to the basement. I told the whole truth, for which I received a reprimand. According to Grandma, it is not proper to rummage through other people's property. At the evening family council, it was decided that we would keep the puppy in the basement for now while the tenant was looking for him, and after at least a week, we would show him to the world. You never know where we got him from. We could say we found him in the forest, and that's what we did. The tenant was angry then. I saw his face at the food truck, but he couldn't tell everyone that he had kept a wolf locked up in his bathhouse. People would punish him for this, I think, so all he could do was get angry. We fed the wolf with my own fish. It was true that he had to go fishing more often. He ate a lot. Some time later, already in the fall, I walked freely around the village with a wolf on a leash. The neighbors already knew, but so did the tenant. One day he caught me on a walk, but he didn't manage to talk to me. My wolf had grown so big that he could eat fish. Before he could say a word to me, the wolf sensed him and showed his fangs. Apparently, he remembered his smell and only the bad things associated with it. After this incident, the tenant never approached me again. The wolf was my faithful friend. He was like me, an orphan. But a new family was found for him, just as it was for me. The wolf lived with us for 3 years, and one night, a fire broke out at the neighbor's house. It was said that he had been drinking and fell asleep, leaving an unextinguished cigarette to ignite the flames. Our entire family rushed into the street as the neighbor's house began to burn. Hearing cries for help, my wolf dashed toward the fire, climbing through the basement window to assist, and I never saw him again. He wanted to help, but the fire proved too powerful. Many years have passed since then. We sold our house, and now I live in the city. Yet, I occasionally return to those places, and memories flood back, bringing tears to my eyes. What do you think about this story? Please tell us in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also, subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.